Hey everyone, I'm Elliot Peters of the Peters Bros, and I'm going to show you my favorite movies. This is not every movie in my collection. There's a lot of movies though, okay, so bear with me. We have quite a lot of movies, and we belong to a lot of different fandoms. I personally am just like a huge nerd when it comes to anything sci-fi or epic fantasy, so of course The Lord of the Rings is going to be in here. But I'm also a huge Disney nerd, and I love Disney movies and Disney Pixar movies. So I'm going to show you my collection of Disney films, my collection of sci-fi action films, and my collection of Disney Pixar films, as well as basically just all my favorite movies. There are a couple that I left out on purpose because they just didn't comply to the whole fandom theme that I'm going with here. We're going to start off at the beginning, probably the oldest movie in our collection, old meaning, release date wise. The first film here, of course, is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We have quite an extensive collection of original Disney animated films from the golden age of Disney animation, including Pinocchio, Dumbo, Bambi, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, Alice in Wonderland, 101 Dalmatians, Cinderella, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and The Jungle Book. Some of those are Diamond Edition Blu-ray releases, some of them aren't. We're not really concerned with collecting certain re-releases of films so much as just owning a copy of the film. There are, of course, quite a few that we're still missing, but these are all ones that I really enjoy. And then we move into, we only own one film from the dark period after Walt Disney died, and that's The Fox and the Hound. I'm not really very familiar with The Black Cauldron. I saw it once, but I don't really have any interest in owning that film. And then we move into the Renaissance era, and that includes The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Lilo and Stitch, The Princess and the Frog, and Winnie the Pooh. Yes, we do not own Mulan, or Pocahontas, or Hercules. I love those films, we just don't own them. Not yet. I would like to own those films eventually. Then directly after the Renaissance era, we've got the computer animated Disney films from Walt Disney Animation Studios. The way that I organize my films when I put them on, we have a bookshelf, and I organize our films on that bookshelf. But I like to do it, it's not alphabetical and it's not by director like some people do. I organize them by movie studio and the date they were released, because then you get to keep film series together. Like otherwise you're gonna split up a bunch of the like the Jurassic Park movies. Those will be everywhere. So that's why I keep them by movie studio. Tangled, this one is one of my favorite Disney movies ever. I cry every single time I watch this film. Wreck-It Ralph, it's a great movie. Planes, Frozen, Big Hero 6, Baymax, Zootopia, I loved this movie, and Moana. This one was fantastic as well. We also own the Disney short films collection and the Disney Pixar short films collection, but I didn't really want to show, those aren't films. We also own quite a few seasons of TV shows, but I wanted to keep it to movies here. Speaking of Pixar, we own every single Pixar movie ever released. We don't own The Incredibles on Blu-ray, but we do have it on digital. So I count that as part of the collection, even though it would be cool to own it on Blu-ray, but you get all the special features and everything on digital anyway. So these are also in order of release date. Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Incorporated, Finding Nemo. Fun fact, this was the first film I ever saw in the movie theaters. Cars, this is Finn's favorite Pixar film. Ratatouille, I love this one. Wall-E, my dad's personal favorite. It's great. Just all around, that movie is fantastic. Up, Toy Story 3. This traumatized me because it is so emotional. I love this movie. Cars 2. We all know, there's no need to talk about it. Brave. Monsters University. Inside Out. I personally love this film. The Good Dinosaur. I wasn't too impressed with The Good Dinosaur. It was visually stunning, but storyline-wise, it was bogged down, and I feel like, they started and stopped production on this film so many times that it was kind of a mess by the time they released it. Plus, how many times can we make movies about anthropomorphic cartoon dinosaurs? It's just not going to work for very much longer, and as far as Pixar standards go, not the best, because Pixar does fantastic films. And Finding Dory. This was one of the Pixar sequels that I actually loved so much. That and Monsters University. I loved Monsters University. But Finding Dory, Finding Nemo was close to my heart since it was the first film I ever saw in the movie theaters. But this one it kind of kept the feeling and the magic of that first one while adding in some new elements, which I thought was really, really well done. It was a good sequel. Then we have the Pirates of the Caribbean films. I know technically still Disney, but live action, so, I felt like they should be separate. Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, At World's End, and On Stranger Tides. I'm really looking forward to Dead Men Tell No Tales, which is coming out on Memorial Day this year, 2017. I feel like, the first three here, Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, and Outworld's End. Outworld's End is my personal favorite. They had a complete storyline that featured very heavily Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, played by Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley. And for On Stranger Tides, the fourth film, both of those characters just disappeared, and it was all Johnny Depp. I mean, he's great as Jack Sparrow, but when you're just watching 2.5 hours of Jack Sparrow's harebrained schemes, it gets a little as well as I just didn't understand why Penelope Cruz was in this movie. I just didn't get it. So that's why I'm really looking forward to Dead Men Tell No Tales, because they're bringing back Will Turner, and I think Orlando Bloom is a great actor, so I'm really excited to see that film when it comes out. Then, still in Disney territory, we're kind of slowly moving out of Disney territory here. We have the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. I'm a big comic book fan. I'm trying to get Phineas, my younger brother, more into comic books. He likes comics. But the Marvel comics are great if you like heroes. The DC comics are great if you like villains. That's the way I like to think of it. Because let's be honest, Marvel comics don't really have very great villains. I mean, you have Loki and Red Skull and Venom and Thanos, and then that's kind of it. But then the DC universe has tons and tons of really intriguing villains. And then the other way around with heroes. I don't really think that Aquaman is a very good superhero. She's kind of mediocre. But the Marvel universe is just chock full of really interesting superheroes. These are also in the order that they were released. I think, there are only 2 Marvel Cinematic Universe films that we don't own. Right now, we are waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to come out in theaters, just so you know where we are in the whole timeline. And for those of you who don't know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe did something that no series of films had ever really done before, where they had a bunch of solo films showing different characters, and then they brought them all together into this one giant blockbuster event. So we've got Iron Man, Iron Man 2, technically The Incredible Hulk is supposed to go in between those two, Thor, and then is supposed to be Captain America the First Avenger, and then we've got The Avengers. This film is crazy. It is so good. I love it. Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron. Ultron is one of the few Marvel villains that is actually really great. Ant-Man. This one is hilarious. I love this movie. Captain America Civil War. And Doctor Strange. Now we're weaning out of Disney because this is where it gets a little complicated. Here's our collection of Star Wars films. We have Blu-ray and DVD box collections of the prequel trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and 3, and the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6. My dad had the common sense to show me the originals before the prequels, which made a lot of that was good on you, Dad, for keeping Star Wars perfect in that way. I don't hate on the prequels like a lot of people do. And then there's The Force Awakens and Rogue One. Rogue One, I literally just watched this movie again last night. It is a fantastic film that, for those of you who don't know, takes place between the two trilogies. And it really did a great job tying the two together. And a lot of people complain that The Force Awakens is kind of a rehashing of Episode 4. I personally loved The Force Awakens, and I can't wait for The Last Jedi to come out this winter. Then there's Star Wars Rebels, Spark of Rebellion. This was a made-for-TV CG film that aired on Disney XD just before the TV series Star Wars Rebels started, and it kind of like jump-starts the show, kind of like Star Wars The Clone Wars did on Cartoon Network. And then we've got Star Wars The Clone Wars Volumes 1 and 2. These were like traditional cell animation cartoons that aired on Cartoon Network, and they've been released as like Volume 1 and 2. They're both like feature-length films. But the interesting thing about these is that they've been erased from the canon at this point. Now we've left Disney behind, and we've gone on to The Hunger Games. These films were fantastic. As far as adaptions from novel to film go, they did a great job keeping the characters intact and the plot intact, which was really hard because those novels are like packed with stuff. So first off, The Hunger Games, then Catching Fire, Mockingjay Part 1, and Mockingjay Part 2. I think even if you haven't read the books, you should definitely check these films out because Jennifer Lawrence is fantastic as Katniss Everdeen. But I would definitely recommend the books to anyone interested because they're good. This is interesting. So Jurassic Park, right? I love the Jurassic Park films, but the only one that we don't own is the second film, Jurassic Park: The Lost World. So Jurassic Park 3, not 2, just 3, and then Jurassic World. I loved Jurassic World. It's not like it's a great movie if you just want to watch people get eaten by dinosaurs and see Chris Pratt be charming and funny. And here's the Dark Knight trilogy. That includes Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I love these films so much. They're so good. The thing that I like most about them is that they're very much based in the real world. And for people who are familiar with the character of Batman, these aren't the traditional way of showing his story. Of course, the first one is an origin story. It tells how Bruce Wayne became Batman, but it's different in that it's not based in the crazy, fantastical world of the DC universe. Everything that happens is explained in a real-world scenario. Christopher Nolan did a great job translating these comic books into believable characters and storylines. Then there's the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You have to watch the special extended editions of these films because the theatrical editions just aren't enough. While they're still good, and Return of the King won, I think 5 Academy Awards the year that it came out, the extended editions just give you so much more as far as bonus features and just tons of extra content. The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. I would recommend that you read the book, The Lord of the Rings. It's fantastic. It's going to take you forever to get through it, but it's really, really good. Plus, you'll understand what the heck is going on a lot more. Of course, you can just enjoy the films without having read the book. I'm not one of those sticklers who forces you to read the book and who won't let you watch the film without having read the book beforehand. But still, I mean, if you're into reading The Lord of the Rings, go do it. But before you read The Lord of the Rings, I would advise you to read The Hobbit. And now this is where I don't really agree with Peter Jackson. He did a great job with The Lord of the Rings, one of the best novel-to-film adaptions ever. But The Hobbit, he unnecessarily stretched out over 3 films and tried to turn it into something epic, which, I mean, it's a children's book, really. It's supposed to be like fun and witty, and it really should have only been 1 movie, but for some reason he made it 3, and he added in tons of like extra stuff from the appendices of the original Lord of the Rings, and had this whole weird storyline where he must have been obsessed with Thorin Oakenshield for some reason, because he made him the main character. But it's called The Hobbit. Like, it's about Bilbo Baggins. I don't know. They're good movies, but Peter Jackson definitely went way overboard trying to make them into something that they weren't. And also, he put Orlando Bloom in there as Legolas again. Like, why? Peter Jackson has a crush on Orlando Bloom. And also, be warned that the special extended edition of The Battle of Five Armies, the 3rd film, is rated R for violence. This was a kid's book. They made it rated R. And then to close this out here, because the battery is dying on the camera, as well as the fact that I've run out of movies, the Harry Potter films. As you can see, I am wearing a Ravenclaw hat right now. I am a Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw pride. These movies just speak to me on so many levels. We've got Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This is a box set that contains all of the films on DVD. It does not have the bonus features, though, which I'm kind of bummed about, but I mean, if you just want to watch the films, then this is a great boxed set. I would recommend getting them on Blu-ray, though, because they look fantastic on Blu-ray. But I just love the Harry Potter books so much, and for all their flaws, these films are still fantastic. And the trio of Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson is just, like, you can't do any better than that. They're fantastic actors, and the films are just so magical. Pun intended. Thanks for watching, you guys. If you have a favorite movie, please let me know in the comment section below, and if you can't narrow it down, then, I mean, I'd love to hear from you guys anyway, so let me know if you own any of these films, and if any of them are on your list of must-watch movies. If you want to know what films Phineas and I are most excited for that are coming out in 2017, we'll put a link in the description box below to our top 7 movies of 2017. Thanks, you guys. It's been fun showing you my movie collection, and I hope you stick around. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to tell your enemies that we are awesome. I just did a lot of talking. Yeah!